as we start to realize the structural impediments to actually making equitable changes in our communities, what thought process must be given to making a change in terms of the philosophy around equitable design in our infrastructure improvement, especially knowing that we may have similar communities with similar projects, but the scope ends up being vastly different based on the power of advocacy that's created in that community and their knowledge base that they bring to it. How do we create that change so that we can actually have something that's a proactive change versus a reactive change in reporting?
The squeaky wheel syndrome, right? I mean, the people that have the wherewithal to advocate and to spend time advocating tend to get more in terms of government services, and that's probably also, and that's certainly true in transportation as well. There is an emerging new story that I think is eclipsing the old story of growth for the sake of growth, wherever the growth might happen. And that new story is the health and well-being of the whole. So to the extent that as a thinking and caring people, we can show one another in clear and understandable ways, using these technologies and using the map, the well-being of the whole. The goal must always be the well-being of the whole. And when I was mayor of Baltimore, we received 200 additional police officers. Eric Holder came, Kwesi Mfume was there. Applause. Baltimore's getting 200 more police officers to put on the streets. We had a decision to make, where to send them. Well, in the old ways, we would have divided them equally, maybe between the 6 council districts, or more likely, we would have divided half of them equally, and then when we'd sent the other ones to the wealthiest, loudest areas that call their council people. Instead, we looked at the well-being of the whole. We showed everyone the map of where our citizens were being shot and robbed and mugged in tiny little pockets on either side of town. And we said, this is where we're sending the officers. It was about the well-being of the whole. And as the wealthier people pushed back, we said, yeah, but what about the well-being of the whole? You know, it's that common good. And I think we have to be on guard against, in this era where we kind of worship the crowdsourced and what we're hearing by people on the internet or on Twitter or even calling 311. There's a lot of poor families who don't have time, either or don't have broadband access, or just have so many other more pressing problems that you're not going to hear from them on the 311. So you learn to send inspectors there. You learn to be more engaged with the community leaders that are there. You give greater access from of the leader to the leaders in those places. You know, you adjust for it. It's like the layers that Tim was showing. We're a rich, diverse, multi-layered society. That shouldn't give us license to be, blinded by how dazzling it is, or the ability to close our eyes. We just need to open our eyes, to be awake, to recognize the tapestry and the layers, and to continue to bring people back to the well-being of the whole. I guess it is a philosophy change in a way, Hugh, because while it might require additional work in our politics, it also creates better outcomes in terms of the society we design for our kids.
If I could just ask a follow-up question in terms of a structural change that we could make. Since the power of the purse has such leverage in terms of the development of our communities, could we envision a return on investment that's focused on equity and the equitable change in our communities that could then control our capital expenditures and ensure that a structural change has great leverage rather than through the power of additional advocacy to highlight deficiencies?
Yes, I think that moment's here. Elections have consequences. And the new president of the United States has said that with the dollars being distributed to cities and counties and states, they want them to be distributed mindful of equity and sustainability. What will these dollars do to create a more just society? And what will these dollars do to create a more sustainable, which is also more just in generational terms, a more sustainable way of living? I think that moment's here, man. And now it remains to be seen whether mayors and county executives and governors are up to all of the discretion they've been given. But that's certainly the song being sung from the center. Let's hope we all can pick up on the chorus.